Hello. I am Aboubakar OUATTARA from KI-ZERBO University of Ouagadougou. I will present here our preliminary result about the occurrence of multidrug-resistant bacteria in greywater from 5 localities of Burkina Faso. It will be a 4-steps presentation with an introduction, material and method, result and discussion, and finally a conclusion. Rapid population growth and climate change leads to water scarcity in Sahelian countries, such as Burkina Faso. This scarcity is one of the most important constraints for agricultural development. Greywater can be defined as effluent from domestic activities. For several years, huge amounts of greywater are produced worldwide, and in most of the Sahelian countries, large amount of greywater are often directly discharged into environment without treatment. In such high water requirement situation, greywater reuse is often an optional source of agricultural water for irrigation water for agricultural purpose. Greywater contains low microbial contaminant than black water, and then present lower pathogen associated risk. Nevertheless, greywater can contain pathogenic bacteria and MRB, and their reuse can present potential biological health risk for people. The main objective of our study was to perform an evaluation of the role of greywater in the dissemination of MRB in the environment in Burkina Faso, with 2 specific objectives. The first was to evaluate the occurrence of pathogenic bacteria in greywater, and the second one was to look for the presence of presumed MRB in greywater. This study was conducted in 5 localities of Burkina Faso, 1 urban zone, which is Ouagadougou, and 4 rural areas, which are Pabré, Saba, Koubri, and Komki-Ipala. Strain isolation antibiotic sensitivity tests were performed at the Laboratory of Microbiology and Microbial Biotechnology of our KI-ZERBO University. After sampling, presumed MRB were isolated using selective media and standard method. And for antibiotic sensitivity, standard tests were conducted according to CLCE recommendation. Salmonella species were tested with 10 antibiotic discs, and Staphylococcus with 6 antibiotic discs. The data were processed by Excel and Excel stat. For the occurrence of Salmonella species in greywater, all the sampling seat, Salmonella species were found at least in 50% of greywater samples. The highest concentration were obtained with the sample of the urban area, who is Ouagadougou, as compared to rural areas. Similar results were observed for greywater for Amman, which is an urban area of Jordan. The presence of Salmonella species in greywater could be due to washing water of vegetable irrigated with untreated wastewater, or washing water of raw meat. For Staphylococcus species in greywater, for all the sampling seat, Staphylococcus species were found in all the greywater samples. The concentration were relatively high, around 10 power 5 for CFU for 100 milliliters. Similar results were reported by several authors with greywater from England and from Israel. The presence of Staphylococcus species in greywater could be due to their release from shower, from laundry, and from fecal matter and urine. For antibiotic sensitivity test, we observe the highest resistance towards vancomycin, ampicillin, cefoxitin, and 3-methoxysulfate. Our results were higher than results reported for domestic water isolated in Ivory Coast. It is higher, it is not similar. From multidrug resistance Salmonella species, we found up to 75% of MRB strain in greywater for all the samples. Similar results were reported for hospital wastewater isolate in Ethiopia. For antibiotic sensitivity of Staphylococcus species, the highest resistance were observed with penicillin, oxacillin, clindamycin, and tetracycline. Similar results are lower than those reported for Staphylococcus aureus isolate from hospital wastewater in Burkina Faso, Ghana, and Malaysia. Up to 30% of the strain were multidrug resistant. In conclusion, our study reports for the first time the presence of significant concentration of MRB in untreated greywater discharged from domestic activity in Burkina Faso. Untreated greywater can be a significant reservoir of bacteria resistant toward several antibiotics, and untreated greywater can contribute to the development and dissemination of antibiotic resistance among bacterial strains in environment in Burkina Faso. Thank you for your attention.